A very good evening and thanks for clicking on to Vogan's European Outlook. It is the 3rd of January and a quick update on the overall situation both over the next few days with the prospects of snow as well as colder air returning into the pattern once again. And of course we've got a look as well at the stratospheric situation as well. But as I speak, the cold air is filtering down from the north. We've got temperatures now kind of between 0 and 2 Celsius across the northern portion of Scotland here. Now, of course, as that area of low pressure continues to filter southwards once again over the North Sea, or should I say the Norwegian Sea, it's going to continue to drive that Arctic air back into the weather pattern once again, clinging on to milder air still across the southern portion of the UK, 8s, 9s, and 10s. Still on the chart this evening, even 11 or 12 degrees in a couple of places on the south coast. But we've got the contrast between 0 at Altnahara and 11 degrees down on the south coast here. Wind chill factor you add in, and we're talking about between -2 and -4 quite widely across the northern portion of the British Isles. So we're cleaning out the air after the record warmth, and we are going to see, like I say, some snow potential over the next few days. First and foremost, before we get there, I want to have a look at the 2-meter temperatures across the northern hemisphere and seeing the movement of that air across the hemisphere to see exactly how it's acting, how it's behaving with the weather systems controlling the pattern up there. And again, like I've said in the past couple of videos, the true core of cold air is generally staying between Asia and North America, unfortunately. And a lot of the reason for that is because, of course, we've got a very active jet stream across the hemisphere, not just across the Atlantic, but we're seeing it across the Pacific as well, and across the North American continent, and of course that extends across the Atlantic here. So of course when you drive winds in from the upper levels right down to sea level pretty much from the west, you're of course driving mild ocean air into the continent. So it's essentially pushing the Arctic air out, and that is never of course a great sign for not only high latitude blocking but also encouraging cold air into the continent. Really, it's up across Scandinavia that we've got still that very cold air in place, but further down, it's more kind of ocean modified cold air, if you will, that we're seeing at the moment driving south. But as we press through this loop, you can see here the behaviour of the atmosphere over the Arctic region. Of course, you've got this little area of jet stream winds here extending from between Alaska and Asia up into the Arctic region. And what's happening is, in a sense, we're feeding cold air from Siberia over top of the pole and into North America. But as we play through the loop, all you're seeing is that movement of air between Asia and North America. There is nothing major in terms of cold. The purples always remain on the Asia North America side of the Arctic as opposed to towards Europe, of course. Yeah, Greenland, of course, naturally is in the cold air, but it's kind of staying put. Of course, over North America, we've got the collision between very warm tropical air and moving into the southeastern portion of the United States, bitterly cold Arctic air that's driving south into the northern plain states. Collide the two, you increase the jet stream, and of course that's firing across the Atlantic, and in a sense, pushing areas of low pressure in a not favourable track up towards Iceland. Therefore, we're always on that warmer side of cold, so to speak. But as we play through the loop, you can see here the movement like water in a river, just acting the same way in the atmosphere here, and it's kind of sloshing back and forward between Asia and North America, as you can see here. But so yeah, we're going to have to maintain patience when it comes to any major cold pattern developing across the Europe side of the pole in the next wee while here. If we look at the GFS, these are the 250 millibar winds or jet stream winds, and you can see here that as we skip through the loop, you cast your eyes across the North Pacific, across North America, and across the North Atlantic here. We've got a pretty active jet stream at the moment here. So yeah, the East QBO, favourable, very much so. However, we're not seeing it's a complete disconnect, so to speak, between the zonal westerlies and, of course, the easterly QBO. So in a sense, we've got winds at jet stream level over the equator, blowing east to west, which would favour more high latitude blocking. But what we're essentially doing is we're seeing a strong westerly wind at jet stream level up across the mid latitude region here. So we're not seeing any influence of the East QBO on the jet stream here. So a little bit frustrating, to say the least, here as we go forward. And I'll look at the stratosphere before I round up here, because there is some slightly less indicators of a sudden stratospheric warming as we go forward here. So I'm not overly encouraged by what I'm seeing at this moment in time, especially now that we're at the 3rd of January. And of course, as you look, 240 hours out, that's 10 days. And you can start to argue that we're starting to push back the potential for anything major developing here from a sudden stratospheric warming setup here. Sorry, that's my parents' little dog in the background here, so I do apologise for the noise there. Little Sam trying to get his presence known to all you viewers out there. But you can see here the jet stream continuing to power across the North Atlantic and sending areas of low pressure, like I say, more up towards Iceland as opposed to towards the UK even here. So patience is definitely going to have to continue, I'm afraid, here as we go forward. Looking at the overview chart here, this is off the GFS as well. Area of low pressure centered just west of Norway, 962 millibars. Going to see some very strong winds, by the way, especially across Orkney, parts of the north coast of Scotland, 60, 70, possibly 80 miles an hour later on this evening up there. And of course, this is responsible for opening up the Arctic door once again, driving cold air south over the British Isles here. And of course, showers, precipitation riding that northerly flow is of course going to fall as snow over high ground. So say for example, 1,500 feet above sea level, you could see a pretty decent snow cover, I think, come tomorrow morning with these northerly winds, of course, as well. Clearer air, and where there's shelter, we're going to see the temperature dropping away quite quickly tonight. I think even Glasgow, Edinburgh corridor, we could see temperatures comfortably below freezing, especially away from urban centres through the course of tonight as well. So keeping our eyes on an ice risk with any showers falling through the course of the day. So that area of low pressure drops south. You've got, of course, the winds extending all the way up to the Arctic here, so you can see the source region at which this air is coming from. So we continue to see these showers. Very much a dry story generally, I think, later on this evening and into tomorrow, especially from about kind of Perthshire southwards. You're not going to see much in the way of showers. I think a lot of the showers will be confined to the highlands, I think, and the atmosphere will kind of wring itself out over the Grampians, over the Cairngorms, the West Highlands, so to speak. And that feature eventually starts to kind of drift into the near continent. Notice area of high pressure kind of builds in from the west, and then it's all eyes on an area of low pressure that really deepens significantly here, dropping down to 928 millibar low. That is a heck of an area of low pressure. But you notice the track is heading up towards Iceland and Greenland here, but the associated frontal system is going to then push into the cold air across the UK. Now, golden question is going to be, how much snow do we see from this? At this moment in time, I think the majority of the snow will be high ground, but we may start to see a mix of snow down the lower levels. The reason why there's a question mark is we want to know exactly how cold that air is behind the front. Now, there's a lot of cold air getting sucked out of the Baffin Straits, Greenland, even Canada. As it crosses those 8 to 10 Celsius waters of the North Atlantic, of course, it loses a lot of the cold air. But there's going to be enough cold air still wrapped within the circulation that we may see some snow even at the lower levels here. And we may see snow showers coming in after the front then sweeps out into the North Sea here. So, like I say, the majority of the snow high ground, I think, over the course of, what would this be? This would be Wednesday night into Thursday, I think, that takes place here. And then we're left with a rather cold westerly wind as we go in towards the upcoming weekend here. Then high pressure over the Azores kind of starts to kind of migrate and push a little bit further north, driving a little bit warmer air up into the jet stream here as well. So I think we're going to start to lose some of that cold air, and then of course areas of low pressure that then move along the jet are just a little bit less cold, I think, as we go forward here. But it's an up and down temperature profile, roller coaster, so to speak, as we go through the next week or so here. So there's probably no point looking too far beyond this period here, because we know how unreliable the models can be here. Finally, let's have a look at the 2 meter or 10 HPA temperature profile up over the polar region here. So of course this is the stratosphere. We'll go back to the very start of the loop. A pretty strong polar vortex at the moment here, and that has been maintained. It's been squeezed with warmth both over Europe as well as over the North Pacific here. We're squeezing that vortex slightly, but temperatures at the core of the actual vortex itself still, minus 70 to minus 80 Celsius. So there is still a lot of strength, and it's managing to hold off. It's fighting off the attack of warmth that we're seeing from out with. So the warming, especially across Europe, is very, very strong at this moment in time. And of course, across the North Pacific side, it is squeezing it. It is trying to kind of take it off its tracks, so to speak. But it's just that wee bit too strong at the moment, and therefore it's holding its own, so to speak, here. So from that point of view, it's not the greatest indicator for anything significant at the moment. But look at how strong the warming is, and you notice here it's spreading eastwards from the UK, Western Europe, right the way around into Asia here. But that vortex is really doing working very hard at trying to hold together here. So in a sense, it's like a pinball machine. It's just kind of bouncing it around over the Arctic atmosphere here. It's not really penetrating it. It's not forcing it to split or, of course, collapse. So therefore, there is no true indicator of a sudden stratospheric warming, in even the kind of foreseeable future, if you ask me. The modelling has had this solution for quite a while now, even in the middle portion of December. But the time frame of any sort of SSW has always been starting to get pushed further and further back. So, we can kid ourselves on here that we're going to get a sudden stratospheric warming. It's a guarantee. It is not a guarantee, folks, unfortunately. And it just shows you all the driving mechanisms in place this year does not necessarily guarantee anything major in terms of cold here. So the wait will continue. We'll keep it right here on YouTube, markvoganweather.com. Please like, share, and subscribe to the video. And I'll be back, hopefully, again tomorrow. Ongoing family matter at the moment here, so I can't guarantee videos daily. But I'll certainly do my best to keep you up to date. Hope you have a great evening. Bye for now.